right, so we've got this ancient hymn in front of us.
Hymn 27.
Hymn 27, right? And you're probably thinking, what hidden wisdom is waiting to be unlocked here? It's like we're about to crack open a time capsule.
Yeah.
Filled with spiritual insights from another world, isn't it? Today we're diving deep into not just the hymn's words, but what they tell us about how people viewed truth, guidance, and grace way back when.
Yeah, what's fascinating about this particular hymn is that it doesn't just lay out these abstract concepts.
Right.
It gives us a model, a power couple, you might call them today,
Okay.
who embodies the San Marca, or the true spiritual path.
A power couple. Okay, I'm intrigued. But the term San Marca, is that just another word for being a good person? Or is there something more specific about this path that sets this couple apart?
That's a great question. And the hymn does give us clues.
Okay.
It's not just about being good in a general sense. It's about aligning yourself with a deeper truth. The hymn describes them as the head of the assembly, which makes you wonder what kind of authority they held within their community.
Right. Were they rulers, spiritual guides, or something else entirely?
That detail really paints a picture, doesn't it? It's like they weren't just living this San Marca in isolation, they were influencing others.
Right.
Maybe even setting an example for their entire community.
Exactly. And that leads us to how the hymn portrays them as active guides, almost like mentors, leading others towards this same truth.
Oh.
They don't just talk the talk.
Right.
They guide us along the path, actively showing others how to live in alignment with the San Marca.
This mentorship idea is really resonating with me.
Yeah.
It makes me think of how even today we seek out mentors, teachers, coaches, all sorts of figures who help us navigate our own paths. I'm seeing a fascinating parallel here.
The parallel is definitely there, and it gets even richer when we consider how the hymn describes the couple bestowing the nectar of grace upon others.
Okay, that's a beautiful image.
Right.
But I've got to admit, nectar of grace feels a bit vague to me.
Is this about them sharing wisdom, offering kindness and compassion? What exactly is this nectar they're providing?
You've hit on a key point. The hymn uses this metaphor of nectar to highlight how this couple nourishes others spiritually. But it's not just about receiving this grace passively.
Right.
Remember, they are guiding people along a path. So perhaps this nectar is tied to the knowledge and support they offer as mentors.
So it's like they're sharing the tools and insights that allow others to experience this grace for themselves.
Exactly.
It's not just a handout, it's an empowerment.
Right, precisely. And that brings us to what might be the most striking metaphor in the entire hymn.
Boy,
It states that the perfect truth is the medicine, the essence of the whole.
this medicine line stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
It's making me rethink what truth represents here. Or are we talking about literal healing, or is it more about the strength and resilience that knowing the truth provides?
That's a really insightful question. While the hymn doesn't explicitly state if this medicine leads to physical well-being, it certainly suggests that knowing the truth can equip you to face any hardship, whether physical or emotional.
So it's like truth provides the inner strength and clarity needed to navigate life's challenges.
Yeah.
It's giving me a lot to ponder about the power of knowledge and understanding.
It is powerful, isn't it? And this couple, they don't just passively hold this truth, they embody it through their actions.
Yeah.
The hymn describes them rejecting false paths and choosing instead to dance in the holy place.
Love that imagery.
Right.
It's so much more active and joyful
Yeah.
than simply avoiding wrongdoing. It's like they're celebrating their commitment to the truth through this metaphorical dance.
This makes me think of when I first learned to play a musical instrument.
Oh, yeah?
It wasn't just about the steps or the technique. It was about that feeling of joy and complete absorption in the activity. Do you think the hymn is hinting at a similar feeling associated with finding and embracing truth?
I think that's a brilliant connection. The hymn definitely emphasizes the couple's active pursuit and joyful embodiment of truth, not just a passive understanding of it. So we're seeing a pattern here.
Yeah.
They lead by example.
Yeah.
They actively guide others. They share this nectar of grace. And they embrace truth with joy and commitment.
Exactly. And all of this leads to the culminating point of this section,
Okay.
where the hymn refers to them as beacons of grace. The great grace of the Lord, O brave ones, shines through them for all to see.
Wow. What a powerful statement. Their lives become a testament to everything the hymn has been describing up to this point. They've reached a state where this grace is evident to everyone around them. But you know what really strikes me?
What's that?
It's not just about them.
Right.
The hymn isn't just celebrating this remarkable couple. It's like it's pointing to something bigger.
Yeah.
A message for all of us listening. Even thousands of years later, their story is meant to teach us something.
You're absolutely right. Their example raises the question. How can we apply these principles of seeking truth, embracing guidance, and embodying grace in our own lives, even if we come from a completely different spiritual context?
That's a big question, and a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive. Get ready, because we're about to explore how these ancient concepts might still hold relevance for us today.
It's remarkable how this hymn, despite being rooted in a specific time and tradition, still manages to resonate with themes that feel incredibly relevant today.
Right. It's like we're uncovering timeless wisdom disguised in this ancient poetic language.
Yeah.
So if we strip away the specific cultural context for a moment, what can we, the modern listener, actually take away from this hymn's message?
Well, for starters, there's this idea of truth as a healing force, as a medicine for the soul. Even if we don't interpret it literally,
Right.
it speaks to the power of knowledge and understanding in helping us navigate life's complexities.
You know, it's interesting. When I hear medicine, I automatically think of physical ailments.
Yeah.
But what if the hymn is talking about a different kind of healing? What if it's about finding inner peace and resilience through understanding, even in the face of hardship?
I think you're onto something there. It's not necessarily about eliminating suffering altogether,
Right.
but rather equipping ourselves with the inner strength and wisdom to move through challenges with grace and clarity.
And the hymn doesn't just tell us to passively absorb knowledge, does it?
No.
It gives us this striking image of the couple dancing in the holy place. There's this sense of active engagement, even celebration, in their pursuit of truth.
Absolutely. It's not just about knowing the right answers. It's about embodying that knowledge, living in alignment with it, and expressing it through our actions. The dancing metaphor suggests a joyful, vibrant way of being.
It's making me think about those moments of true aha. When something clicks and you feel this surge of excitement.
Yeah.
Almost like a dance of understanding in your mind. It's not just intellectual, it's an emotional and even physical experience.
Exactly. And perhaps that's part of what the hymn is trying to convey, this wholehearted embrace of truth, this integration of knowledge into our very being.
And then there's the mentorship aspect. The hymn clearly emphasizes the role of these wise guides who lead others toward this same understanding. It's reminding us that we don't have to navigate this journey alone.
That's such an important point. We all need those figures in our lives who can inspire us, challenge us, and offer guidance, whether it's a teacher, a mentor, a friend, or even an author whose work speaks to us deeply. These individuals can light the way.
You know, it's funny, I'm realizing that mentorship doesn't always have to be this formal relationship.
Right.
Sometimes it's those unexpected encounters.
Yeah.
A conversation, a book, a piece of art, even that sparks a profound shift in our thinking. It can come from the most unexpected places.
That's so true. And I think the hymn encourages us to be open to those unexpected sources of guidance, to be curious, to actively seek out knowledge, to never stop learning and growing.
So in essence, it's about cultivating that inner seeker within each of us to remain open to new perspectives, to challenge our assumptions, and to embrace the journey of discovering truth.
Precisely. And the hymn reminds us that this journey can be filled with joy, celebration, and even a sense of grace. It's not just a dry intellectual pursuit.
Right.
It's a vibrant, fulfilling way of life.
It's like the hymn is offering us a blueprint, not a rigid set of rules,
Right.
but a guiding framework for living a more meaningful and purposeful life.
I love that analogy, a blueprint that encourages us to find our own unique path to truth and understanding.
So we've gone from this ancient hymn's specific details about a power couple to some pretty big ideas about truth and guidance and how we live our lives today.
And that's the beauty of these deep dives, isn't it?
Yeah.
We start with what seems like a narrow focus, and suddenly we're grappling with these universal questions.
Exactly. But let's bring it back to our listener for a moment.
Okay.
You've been with us on this journey through Hymn 27, hearing about this couple. The metaphor is what's sticking with you.
Yeah.
What thought, image, or idea feels most relevant to your own life right now?
Perhaps it's that idea of truth as medicine. Are there areas where deeper understanding could bring you peace, strength, or a new way of approaching a challenge?
Or maybe you're struck by the mentorship piece.
Right.
Who are the guiding figures in your life? And are there ways you could be a better mentor to others, offering that nectar of grace we talked about?
And don't forget that dancing metaphor.
Right.
It's not enough to just know the truth the hymn suggests. It's about how you embody it, the joy and active commitment it brings.
I think what this hymn ultimately offers is a reminder that the search for truth, for meaning, it's not a passive activity. It's a journey that requires effort, openness, and a willingness to dance with the unknown.
And that journey, while it may have challenges, it's ultimately one filled with incredible potential for growth, joy, and connection. Just like that couple, we can strive to become beacons of grace in our own way, illuminating the path for ourselves and those around us.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Hymn 27, I'm curious, what will you carry forward from this conversation? What new insight will you explore? What question will you ponder? This ancient hymn, I think, has given us all plenty to think about.